On this episode of Bite Sized, we are watching and discussing the 65th scene of the movie Twilight. For those of you watching along at home, that's from 1:46:12 to 1:47:30. And now, on to the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to yet another episode of Bite Sized. For those of you who are just joining us, I talked extensively before I hit record about how good I am at doing those intros, and I just tripped over a very simple word.
I jinxed you. I'm so sorry.
Sure
I was complimenting you way too much.
But as I was saying, my name is Ben. I am your host. I'm watching the movie Twilight one scene at a time with a different guest every week. I find someone to be on the show. I send them anywhere from 30 seconds to 3 minutes of the movie Twilight, and we talk about it with little to no other context. Speaking of guests, joining me today is an actor, a comedian, a returned guest to Bite Sized. It is Will Nicholson. Will Nicholson, welcome
Hello.
to Bite Sized. Welcome back to Bite Sized.
So nice to be back.
Please talk so that I don't have to for a second.
I mean,
apparently I can't trust my own mouth.
Hey, it's all right. I'm happy to help give your mouth a break anytime you
Thanks,
need.
bud.
It's always lovely to be back in Bite Sized, and I'm happy to be here again. I will say you sent me the clip for today, and I was a little bit surprised that it was still Twilight. That we were not on New Moon yet. I mean, I guess I knew that we weren't on New Moon yet.
Right.
Because we talk about the podcast.
Yeah.
But I just was like, wow, it feels like it's been so long since I've been here, way back at the beginning of this run.
I mean, we recorded your first episode 2, a little over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So It really has been that long. But we're almost to New Moon. Listener, we'll be there in just a few episodes. As you listen to this, we're about a month and a half away from New Moon episodes. So for those of you who haven't maybe heard you on the show before, I'll start this interview and you can be short about it. I'll start this interview the way I normally start the interviews on the show, which is by asking you, what is your history with the Twilight franchise? And we've already heard it a couple times.
Yeah, I've seen all the movies. I read the books when I was in middle school. They were like getting really popular around then, and I was like, well, I'll give them a try. And I really liked them because I'm a little bit of a romantic.
I tried to impress the ladies with the fact that your middle name is Edward.
Exactly. I'm like, I'm kind of pale. My middle name's Edward. Some of my teeth are kind of pointy. Weird.
Girls love knowing a guy's middle name.
Honestly, it's a great fun fact. Always. To get to know someone's middle name, you're like, I know them intimately.
Yeah, I have a middle name that no one ever guesses.
Oh, no.
You've known me for several years. Do you know my middle name?
I feel like I did know it at one point, and now
It's probably come up before.
I think it has come up before, but I wouldn't be able to remember it.
Whenever this conversation comes up, I give people basically as many guesses as they want. I will spot them the first letter. Still, no one ever guesses it.
Okay, give me the first letter.
It starts with a C.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Carmen.
No, it is not Carmen. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
You get 2 more guesses, and then we go back to talking about Twilight.
Okay, fair.
Make them count.
Chad.
No, I have a cousin named Chad, but that would be an interesting middle name, Chad.
Yeah. It'd be, I feel like, psychotic to make someone's middle name Chad.
Yeah, that would be crazy. All right, strike 2. What's your last guess?
Charlie.
No, that would be fun given, and it actually, that is the closest you could have been without actually getting
it. Charles?
My middle name is the name of someone on my dad's side. I'm named after one of his brothers, but Charles was his dad's name.
Oh,
so it could have been Charles, but it wasn't.
Right family, but wrong name. Okay, what is it?
I'm not going to tell you. You didn't guess. You don't get to know.
Dang it. Okay.
I don't want listeners stealing my identity.
That's
I'll tell
fair.
you after we stop recording. But let's get into the scene we're talking about today. It's a short one, and there's not a lot that happens.
Oh, I beg to differ.
But we're back in Forks, and Edward is there to take Bella to prom, and it's just sort of real awkward, and then they leave, and that's it. And that's the episode. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. We are back in Forks after spending a lot of time in Phoenix.
That we're back in Forks because they give us this beautiful sweeping vista of pine trees, the Pacific Northwest.
But we are indeed back in Forks, and you can tell because it is so terribly terribly blue.
Blue. You did it. I was gonna say it because I know I wanted the bell.
Sorry, I thought you were building up to it and then you didn't. And I was like, did he forget the blue bell?
No, I was ready for the blue bell. Well, because it really, I forget how blue this movie is.
It's
Even
really
though
blue.
I know, I come back and I'm still like, wow, that's bluer than I remember.
Yeah, and we're about to get into New Moon, where the Twilight movies stop being so blue, and I think I'm gonna miss it.
It's New Moon, not Blue Moon. Am I right?
Hey, because Blue Moon is a beer. And speaking of beer, Charlie and Edward are at the dinner table, and they are not speaking.
Nope.
Charlie's just sitting there drinking a beer like a good dad on prom night.
Exactly.
They are not looking at each other. They are not speaking to each other.
Nope.
They are just both awkwardly sitting kind of close to one another.
A glass of water that we know Edward hasn't had any to drink because he can't drink water.
No. And also in between them, a salt shaker, a pepper shaker, and 2 eggs.
Is it eggs? I thought maybe they were ping pong balls.
I have no idea why they would be ping pong balls. I feel like this was before beer pong was as much in the public conscious as it is now. Maybe that's just because
beer pong's been around forever. I think
know
Charlie's definitely a beer pong. I think Charlie just loves beer pong. He keeps a couple of ping pong balls on the kitchen table just in case at any time a beer pong game is ready to break out.
We never see ping pong in any context anywhere else in these movies, but sure, I guess it's possible that Charlie keeps ping pong balls on his kitchen table.
Mean, the alternative of it being eggs is not much better.
Is it though? Because at least that makes kind of sense that you would have food in a room where you eat.
I guess that's if they were hard-boiled eggs, then I guess I could see you keeping them out.
Why is that?
Well, if they're raw eggs, you can't keep raw eggs out of the fridge, can you?
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Not in the U.S.
You sure can't keep... I mean, what do you think? The cops are going to come and arrest you for keeping room temperature eggs?
The feds will come and get you for the eggs.
No, as anyone who's watched as many episodes of Good Eats as I knows, you can absolutely keep eggs out of refrigeration in your own home.
Well, I thought that you could do that in the UK because they don't pasteurize them. But I thought...
eggs are... I mean, the pasteurization is what makes them shelf stable.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wild. Because I know in like the UK, there's like that kind of like waxy coating that doesn't get removed that is naturally on eggs.
Do you think you can leave hard-boiled eggs out at room temperature?
No, actually that
would be significantly
that would also
worse.
That would make you very sick.
They would maybe be there for a couple hours before the entire room would start to smell of egg.
That you know what? You're right there.
Have you never gone on an Easter egg hunt before?
Well, I have, but we don't use real eggs. We use the plastic ones.
We did both when I was a kid. We had a hybrid egg hunt where there would be plastic eggs with candy or maybe some loose change in there. But also, we would, dye our own eggs.
Right.
And so, of course, we would hide those too. And maybe some you don't find so soon, and you can tell.
Yep. See, I think that's why we never hid the real eggs. My great aunt would always host Easter at her place because she had this big farmhouse in Arkansas, and so all of the like second cousins would come over. It'd be all the extended family, and the kids would all dye eggs while the adults were hiding the plastic eggs. So it'd be one of those things of like, keep the kids distracted dyeing their real eggs while we go hide the plastic ones. And so that was, we never hid the real ones. I think because it was such a sprawling like farmhouse that she was hiding them over and like throughout the yard and stuff. I think she was worried that she would forget where all of them, there would be an egg that went unfound and then it would cause issues.
And then start to smell bad.
Exactly.
Even though, as you just suggested, hard-boiled eggs you can apparently leave out just fine.
I mean, use them for beer pong.
Maybe. We used a lot of eggs mainly because I also had a lot of cousins and you just need a lot of eggs to go around.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, there's eggs. I'm pretty sure they're just eggs sitting there.
That would make more sense. I guess.
Than ping pong balls, I guess.
Nominally. I think Charlie's enough of he's got a beer cracked open already on like, what's it, 5 p.m.
I mean, the sun is out.
Yeah.
In pretty far north in the springtime. So it's like 6 p.m., 7 p.m. at the absolute latest.
Maximum.
And he's already working. He's already day drinking.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie's a guy who'd play some beer pong and need those ping pong balls accessible at all times.
I don't see Charlie as a beer pong guy. That feels like too much pretense
that's
to
true.
drinking a beer. I feel like he would just drink it.
He's like, I don't need to have a game to make me drink. I just drink what I want.
He just wants to enjoy it while it's cold, as opposed to let, I don't know, roughly 2 shots of beer get warm and flat in a solo cup.
Get all that floor dust in it? Come on.
I kind of miss beer pong, though.
Right?
I haven't played a drinking game in a long time.
My company Christmas party had beer pong.
Really?
This last year. Although we did water pong and then everybody just drank. I mean, there was also booze there, but water pong's the way to do it because then you don't get the floor dust in your beer.
Yeah, I guess. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, they're just sitting there not talking, as any good man not talks to his daughter's prom date.
Right.
Did you have any fun experiences with the dads of all the several women you wooed when you were around high school prom age?
There was one girl who I dated for a little while, and we did not date very long, but on like our first date, I went to pick her up to go to the movies.
Yeah.
And her dad was like, come in for a little bit. She's getting ready. And so I sat in the living room with him and her mom and her younger brothers while he interviewed me a little bit. And then we played a couple rounds of charades before we left.
Okay.
Because he was like, it's been great getting to know you. Let's play some charades. It was really strange energy. I really just wanted to leave. I was like, I've been here too long. But I mean, even after we broke up, it was the kind of thing where he was like, "Oh, that was a shame. You guys were great. You're such a good kid, and you're great at charades."
This guy was just looking for a new charades buddy.
I guess. I mean, it was strange, but there was also a Southern dad. There was an air of but if you hurt my daughter,
right,
if you break her heart, what Charlie tries to do in this scene. It is.
I was wondering maybe if the charades was a test.
It might have been.
To see how well I don't know.
If I was cultured, I guess.
Yeah, if you're good under pressure, are you good at communicating? Can you just play charades like a normal person?
Can I integrate into the family dynamic they have? I don't know. But it was a first date. It was really strange to do to a high school kid.
High pressure for a first date.
Yeah. It's a rite of passage. You have to have the awkward boyfriend talking to the parents kind of moment.
Sure. And it's a shame that I don't want to have kids, so I'll never have that from the other side.
Because I've talked to people before who are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be fine with it, but I'm gonna act like a real hard ass. I the fun of it isn't intimidating this kid. Do you think you would do that? Do you think you'd be like, I'm going to really lean into it? Or were you like, I'm going to be really chill?
No, I think I would be pretty chill about it because this young child who wants to date my young child is going through a very weird and confusing time.
Right.
And the last thing they need is an adult to be performatively hostile to make that weird situation even weirder.
Absolutely. No, I'm in the same boat. I would want to be chill. Because also I'm like, if you're going to be dating my kid, I want there to be trust between us. I want you to feel comfortable enough, coming to me with problems you have or being honest with me about situations. Yeah. If you need me to get you guys some plan B, I need that to be able to happen without you being terrified I'm going to shoot you.
Right.
Something.
I had a friend's dad who did that in kind of I don't know if it was intended to be a joke or not, but a friend of mine, we weren't even dating. I was just a group of friends were going to go see a movie. I was A, the only one with a car, and B, the only boy in this group. So I picked up a bunch of friends. I get to my last friend's house to go see a movie. I believe we were going to go see, this is not important to the story at all.
Great.
It will probably get cut out. I believe we were going to see The Chronicles of Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Nice.
I guess it kind of fits into this YA fiction podcast.
Definitely does.
We're all standing sort of in the living room, me and the friends that have arrived with me, and she, comes to meet us in the living room down the stairs, sort of like Bella does. We'll get back to Twilight eventually. And her dad is there, and he's, had never met any of us before. And he goes down sort of the line, gently, politely shaking the hands of the female friends I was with. Right. And then when he gets to me, I sort of step forward and offer my hand as everyone else had. And he just sort of looks at me and shoves me and walks away. And his daughter was mortified, but I thought it was funny. And so I think if I were to be a weirdo hostile to my non-existent child's non-existent date, it would probably be more along those lines.
Yeah, you're making it so strange.
Going over the top.
Like, so extra hostile that they know it's a joke.
Yeah. Definitely not the kind to like have a gun for that conversation, though.
Sure.
Yeah, that's too far.
Agreed.
Hey, let's start talking about Twilight again.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Bella eventually breaks the ice by coming down the stairs.
Alice lent me the dress. The cast is...
You're perfect.
She's wearing a dress. And she's got some mismatched footwear because she has a Converse, a Chuck on one foot, and a leg brace, a boot on the other one. She's wearing some sort of mid-calf tights that I always think are jeans every time I see them.
Right.
Because that is very much in the style of 2008.
Oh, for sure. Jeggings? Come on.
And that sort of Disney star Modest is Hottest, where you are wearing like a dress with like a low-cut dress, but also like a t-shirt under it so no one sees anything.
Exactly.
Trying
some
to have
skinny jeans.
Yeah, trying to have the best of both worlds of like hip modern clothing, but also covered down to your wrists and ankles.
Right. Oh, well, and layered clothes was such a thing in the early 2000s.
It was.
It was like, it was all over children's media because they were like...
And all over children, including me.
Yep. Oh, same.
Yeah. A long sleeve t-shirt, short sleeve button down. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
That is.
Yeah, I did like long sleeve, like Under Armour, like thermals, and then just a regular t-shirt. Didn't look good. I wised up to that real fast as soon as I started developing taste.
Right. And
as
a
child,
you
I was
understood
just like,
two t-shirts is excessive.
oh, yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I was like, my Yu-Gi-Oh t-shirt and then a cool accent color for the rest of my arm.
And it's got to be Under Armour for all that athletic stuff you're
Yeah,
gonna
'cause
do
I was
in
so
your Yu-Gi-Oh
athletic.
shirt.
Oh, yeah,
You need to be able to wick away moisture from your skin.
Exactly. Well, I can't let my blue eyes get damp.
You can't be chafing while you're believing in the heart of the cards.
Well, my dual disc would really rub me raw. I had one of the big, like, chunky plastic dual discs that would go like, and then, like, would take me off balance because it weighed as much as I did. Because
you were even smaller than you are now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was a beanpole, and it was like a 30-pound piece of plastic machinery that you put cards on.
Everything you just said squares perfectly with everything I know about you.
Right.
I didn't know that about you, but I probably could have written that down.
You knew it, you just
envelope.
didn't know you knew it.
Yes,
for sure.
Yes, exactly. That is sort of an inherent truth. But she's there. Her hair is curled.
Mm-hmm.
She says she borrowed the dress from Alice.
Right. I will say, I think one of the things that strikes me the most about this scene, and there are kind of two examples of it, that when I'm watching, I really like to remind myself that, like, Edward is, supernaturally fast and strong.
Yeah.
And that means that every time he is like moving through regular life in human like views, he is consciously like slowing himself down.
Yeah.
And when he and Charlie both get up from the table and walk like out of the kitchen to see Bella walking down the stairs, he is moving awkwardly slow for a human. So I'm like, oh my goodness, he's just in like super slow motion right now from his point of view.
Yeah. Do you think that's how vampire speed works? Is you have to intentionally try to not go, because like I have a top speed. It's nowhere near a vampire top speed, but it's not like I have to hold myself back or else I'm going to accidentally sprint across the room.
I mean, I think canonically in Twilight, because there are moments where he mentions like having to be careful with Bella so he doesn't like break her bones and stuff, and like being intentionally gentle with her, at least on the strength side of things. So I would assume that like, I mean, obviously maybe top speed, no, he's not going to accidentally sprint across the room.
Yeah.
But like, I think he would just like his like resting speed has got to be like still supernaturally fast.
All right, you've convinced me about this one.
Yeah. So he's like, oh, got to get up from the table. Ooh, into the foyer.
Yeah. I believe you on that. So you're now 1-1.
Yes.
I did not believe you about the eggs. I do believe you about this.
Well, yeah, you shouldn't have believed me about the eggs.
You could leave out a hard-boiled
clearly
egg.
wrong. I was
let's make it clear to the listener. Don't leave out hard-boiled eggs on your table.
I am a fool who thought that a Yu-Gi-Oh t-shirt and Under Armour was the peak of fashion when I was in elementary school. Don't listen to me.
She borrowed the dress from Alice. Her hair is curled. I'm assuming Alice did that as well. Because there's absolutely no way Bella knows how to curl her own hair.
Yeah, not in the kind of way that it was like all done up for prom at least.
Right.
And then she's got an ugly sweater with her.
Okay.
Like, am I wrong? Am I the only one?
Frankly, I didn't even clock the sweater.
She's carrying like an Easter cardigan that just like is so out of place with the dress she's wearing.
Yeah, but ain't that a Bella for you?
I mean, that is true.
That is classic her. She's not used to wearing this prom dress. It's like it's the same vibe as the prom dress and the ratty chucks,
right?
Or singular Converse, I guess, because the other one's in a boot.
Exactly.
But that's just her aesthetic, man. She's like a grungy sort of. She doesn't really put an effort into her.
She doesn't. She's not like other girls. She doesn't care about fashion.
She doesn't try.
But yeah, no, she's got this like it's like, okay, you've got your grandmother's cardigan and this like soiree cocktail dress that you've borrowed from Alice. It's so funny.
Yeah, well, she's gonna get cold, I assume.
Oh, for sure, always
in Forks, Washington, wherever fancy place they show up.
Right, that Phoenix blood of hers is not keeping her warm.
Yeah, I know what that is. What? Oh, Phoenix, Arizona. I thought that was maybe like a Harry Potter joke or something. Yeah,
fair enough. We are
like a Percy Jackson thing.
We're in a fantasy world. There are vampires. There could also be Phoenix blood.
She could have Phoenix blood with fire running through her veins that keeps her warm at all times. That's within the realm of possibility.
It sure is. But no, I just meant that she's from the South and is not equipped to the climate of Forks, Washington.
And we finally get some dialogue now that Bella has appeared, because we have someone who can talk to other people in the scene. And they talk for a little bit, and Edward tells Charlie, I'll take care of her, Chief Swan.
I'll take care of her, Chief Swan.
Uh-huh. I've heard that before.
Well, but has he? Because I have umbrage with that.
Go for it. I had the same question, then I realized something, but you go first.
Okay, because they sneak her out. Like when she flees to Florida to run from Laurent and crew, they don't tell him bye. He's just like throwing, like Edward's not there for it. He's in the room like throwing shit in a bag, and she's lying to Charlie about like why she has to leave, and she's being dramatic, and she's like, I can't get trapped here like Mom.
Right.
There's no like Edward being there like, oh, we're going on a trip, don't worry, I'll take care of her.
Right.
Like that doesn't happen.
So now it's my turn to be the explainer to
Enlighten
you.
me, please.
Because for whatever reason, when I've heard that before, my first thought was that Charlie was talking about other boys, which like, of course he's not, because who else is coming to take Bella for a date? Canonically, no one. But I realize it's that he's referring to the last time they were in this situation was when Edward was picking up Bella to go to the baseball game. And it was when that whole thing we're talking about, Bella packing the bag, was the night that of the baseball game. That was her coming home from the last time they had that conversation. And so essentially, this is the second time in like a series of a few days, maybe a week or two, that Edward has come to pick up Bella for a date and said, I'll take care of her. And last time it ended up with her in Phoenix severely injured.
Yeah, her panicking, fleeing the state, and then in a hospital.
Right. And he's just going to let this happen again, because he also tells Bella that he's put pepper spray in her bag, which did nothing last time.
Bells. I put a new can of pepper spray in your bag.
Dad.
And, you look beautiful.
This scene proves that Charlie Swan has learned zero lessons from the last sort of week of his life.
He's trying his best, but his whole parenting philosophy comes from stereotypes about what it means to be a dad.
Yeah, he's just an embodiment of toxic masculinity.
Right.
Why is he even letting her to go to prom at all? Shouldn't she be grounded for like ever?
Right, for fleeing the state and then getting put in the hospital?
Yeah, I get that like having a broken leg is not sort of a crime punishable or anything like that. But like running away from home, you think he would maybe have some, I don't know, stricter standards for her.
I mean, I think part of this just is how desperate he is for her to have like a regular like life as a teenager,
right?
And to fit in Forks and to stay with him. Like, I have to imagine that there's a conversation we don't see, like while he's visiting her in the hospital, being like, "What the fuck? Like, what's going on?" And her being like, "I'm sorry, Dad. It's fine. I want to come home with you. I love you. I'm sorry that I made it seem like I didn't want to be in Forks. And then she's like, but I got it. I want to go to prom. And he's like, no way. And she's like, I'll leave again if you don't let me go to prom.
The last time we talked about prom on this show, though, Bella is distinctly anti-prom, and maybe she's lying because the last time we talked about prom, Mike was asking her.
Sure. No, I believe that Bella's anti-prom.
Yeah. So because Edward also seems anti-prom. So whose idea was this?
But Edward is, because they do talk about this, at least in the books. I don't know if they do in the movie.
Definitely not in the movies.
Definitely not in the movies. But in the books, Edward is very much pro. I want you to have a normal life.
Okay.
Because it comes up when she's like, I want to be immortal. Turn me into a vampire.
Right.
And he's like, no, like you need to have all these human experiences first. I won't do it. And so like prom is one of those human experiences where he's like, Bella, your life is weird enough dating me, an immortal monster. You need to have the human experience of a high school prom. I've been so many times in the past before. It doesn't matter for me, but you need to do this.
But why does she have to do it as a human? It would be her first prom whether or not she's a vampire.
Because he thinks that like the experience of being a vampire is going to taint all these human memories.
Yeah.
Look, we could go back and forth about whether Bella's right or Edward's right.
They're both wrong.
Turning into a for sure. It's a very unhealthy relationship they have.
Yeah.
Hot take.
Certainly never been discussed before on this or any other podcast.
It's not like in the next movie he's gonna just ghost her. In a really traumatic way.
Quite literally ghost her, too.
Yeah. Which, oh boy. One of my... we can't get into this because that's for later.
No, do it. Podcast. Tease it.
One of my favorite scenes is when she's in the alley with the motorcycle and she sees his ghost, because she makes the most quintessential Kristen Stewart breath acting like noise and face ever. She just is like...
Well, maybe we'll have you back on in several months to talk about that
I would love
scene.
it if I was here for that scene.
Great, I'll put you down in the books for it.
Yes. But yeah, it is. I think it is because Edward is so like, this is what being human is about. Going to high school prom, even though lots of humans don't do that here in our real world.
Edward didn't do it.
I think maybe he probably goes as a vampire.
He's gone as a vampire,
but he doesn't go as a human for sure.
Because he was a teenager dying of Spanish flu when he got turned into a vampire. Also, I don't think they had prom in 1918 or whatever. Probably not.
When did sock hops start?
50s.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was definitely no prom. If sock hops weren't around, they didn't have prom.
Weren't no proms. I don't know. But then they just sort of leave and they don't take a picture at home on the stairs or anything like that.
No. Again, Charlie really dropping the ball here.
You know, Renee would want a picture of that.
Though we get another classic Kristen Stewart breath acting moment where he's like, you really do look beautiful. And she's like, she breathes hard out of her nose.
Yeah.
She's like, great, perfect. There we go.
She doesn't even know she's beautiful.
Wow.
She's so not like other girls.
She's so not like other girls. And then we also have my second moment of Edward having to tamper his vampire strength.
Yeah.
Which I think is my favorite because it's when he opens the door, because the door gets stuck for a little bit. And so then he has to kind of wrench the door open. Yeah, there's just like a half moment where you can see he like kind of tries to open the door, but it like is a little bit, I guess, like swollen in the door frame. So he has to kind of yank it open. And like they don't call attention to it, obviously.
Why would they?
I'm sure on set they're just like, and you just open the door, and he's like, oh,
right,
fuck,
that was not in the script.
But in my head, I'm like, how funny as him to be like, I've got to really gently open this door. Okay, too gentle.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, how funny would it be if it got stuck and he just rips it off its hinges?
Unfortunately, no. They just sort of leave, and that's the end of the scene.
And that's the end of the scene.
Yeah.
They just unceremoniously walk out the front door and get in the car to go to prom.
And now I get to unceremoniously ask my last question of the interview portion, which is, you seem very prepared for this. If you had to give this scene a name, what would it be? And it's also going to be the name of the episode, so make it good.
Oh, great. I actually wasn't prepared for this.
Come on, man.
Well, I was prepared in that I knew it was coming, but I wanted it to be organic.
No, that's
and I'm
fair.
glad because I think it's definitely got to revolve around something we talked about.
Sure.
I'm forming it in my mind now. 2 eggs and toxic masculinity.
2 eggs and toxic masculinities. That's it.
Yeah, Max with 2 X's. And they're capitalized, like an Xbox gamer tag. Max,
Masculinity. Will Nicholson, if people like the sound of your voice and the cut of your jib and want to follow you on social media or maybe see you perform live or something like that, where can they do those sorts of things, if any?
Well, if you want to see me perform live, you're going to have to come out to Chicago. I've got shows that I do around the city.
Yeah.
And the best way to know if, when, and where those shows are is just to follow me on Instagram at SirChilliamN.
There you go. You can also follow this show on Instagram and also TikTok and YouTube at bitesizedpod_ or just at bitesizedpod _ on Tumblr to see video clips, not video clips, but clips of the show with pictures attached to them sometimes, that sort of thing, and to find out more information about the show as things happen, such as our first live show, the first bite-sized live show on July 6th, which as you hear this is going to be about 2 weeks away at the Newport Theater, July 6th at 7 p.m. We're going to be doing a little comedy show, then recording the first episode of Twilight, the Twilight Saga, New Moon. I will be there along with last week's guests, Ben Oxher and Sarah Murphy, and a good time will be had by all, including you. $10. All that information, including the ticket link, which should be there by now, at Twilight. What's my website? twilightpodcast.com/live. I knew that. I got that right. All that information and more available at twilightpodcast.com. If you want to send an email to the show, you can send an email to myfavoritetwilightpodcast@gmail.com, or just leave a comment on the social medias or send me a DM or whatever, and I'll see it. A lot of people like to send me a DM of some reel or video or something like that they saw on Instagram of another Twilight thing, and I always appreciate seeing all of them, so please keep doing that. Also, I feel like I always forget to say this, but hey, if you like the show, give it a review or a subscribe or tell a friend, because that really is the only best way to get word out about the show. And that is it. Thank you to my editor, Ben Oxher, for putting this together. Thank you to the band Swimwear Department for letting me use their song Mauled to Death as our theme. And that is it. That is all we have for today's episode. As we always say at the end of every episode,
don't leave eggs on your table.
Don't leave eggs on your table. See you next time. Very egg-centric episode.
It was a very egg-centric episode.
Egg-centric? That was not intended to be a pun.
That was good.
Thanks.
Damn it. Okay, wait. Start it again.